The Beyond Skyrim Iliac Bay team took part in the Community Creations Con and shared a presentation with us. For those who don't know, the Beyond Skyrim Iliac Bay is a fan-made project for the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, intending to bring the lands of Hammerfell and High Rock to life. Beyond Skyrim Three Kingdoms is the first planned release from the Iliac Bay team. Recently, the developers have been working tirelessly on the islands of Cespar and Herne in the Abecean Sea. In this video, I share some highlights from the stream and make some observations as usual. So let's get started then. The Iliac Bay developers Arcane Impact and Thingy Person loaded a save in the island of Caspar in the Abecean Sea. We get to see the map of the Beyond Skyrim Iliac Bay world space. Sentinel in Hammerfell and Daggerfall City is up north. The island of Caspar has a settlement called Khora, and Stros Makai, which is featured in the spin-off game The Elder Scrolls Redguard, can be seen in the east. We encounter a hyena, a common enemy like the wolf in Skyrim. I love the sounds and the animations.
They are so great. I love the hyenas. And they will be our wolf sort of replacement for all of Hammerfell. And they're lovely and slightly annoying.
It would be nice to see them travel in groups as well. The developers say the islands of Cespar and Herne have been fully implemented with voice acting work pending. They have been working on these islands since 2022. We then visit the seaside settlement of Khora and talk to Nabeni, the dockmaster. He says many ships sink to the bottom in the rough waters of the Abecean. He asks us to retrieve a sunken treasure which starts a miscellaneous quest.
And so, I will retrieve a sunken treasure for you.
We have to find the statue of Cep from the Lost Sailor Trench. And if you observe, Nabeni starts the sentence in a strange language. Senmo netu bola do mitani. Now, is that the Yoku language? I asked the devs and they replied, they are speaking Yoku, yes. It will appear outside of the Abecean Isles as well, but never with more frequency than here, since these are the closest remnants to the old civilization there is on Tamriel. Awesome! Incorporating the Yoku language is a brilliant addition. It brings back memories of the Elder Scrolls Redguard, where certain characters only spoke in Yoku. This is similar to what the Skyrim team has been doing at those Ashlander camps. The Ashlander people converse in Dulmaris and use specific greetings and combat lines. Seeing NPCs and even undead foes utilize Yoku combat lines in Iliac Bay is a fantastic touch that will significantly enhance the game's atmosphere. I really appreciate the team for including this feature. I love all the unique clutter in the village of Khora. The huts have a unique design and those turquoise colored waters of the Abecean Sea look so good. The developers really have put in some special work to give us this tropical paradise feel. The quest involves diving to a shipwreck to retrieve a statue from a chest. I believe the experience would be significantly enhanced if these types of quests lacked a map marker. Removing the laser guidance of a map marker would compel players to actually explore, making the discovery of the statue feel like an authentic achievement rather than simply following a pointer to the solution. As the developers fast travel to another location, we take a look at the loading screen about Cep. If we read the book The Varieties of Faith in the Empire by Michael Kirkbride, we learn about Cep and the Yokudan pantheon.
Tall Papa is the chief deity of the Yokudan pantheon. Ruptga, more commonly Tall Papa, was the first god to learn the walkabout, a process by which they can persist beyond one lifetime. Tall Papa set the stars in the sky to show lesser spirits how to do this too. When there were too many spirits to keep track of, though, Tall Papa created a helper out of the dead skin of past worlds. This helper is Cep, who later creates the world of mortals. Cep is the Yokudan version of Lorcan. Cep is born when Tall Papa creates someone to help him regulate the spirit trade. Cep convinces some of the gods to help him make an easier alternative to the walkabout. This, of course, is the world as we know it, and the spirits who followed Cep become trapped here to live out their lives as mortals. Cep is punished by Tall Papa for his transgressions, but his hunger lives on as a void in the stars, a non-space that tries to upset mortal entry into the far shores.
Wow, so back in the ancient times, an ancient being, Tall Papa, figured out a way to live for eternity. A way to persist beyond one's lifetime. He cracked the code. And that process is called the walkabout, in which the strongest souls learn to bypass this cycle of destruction. This ancient being then documented this process in the stars for the benefit of common souls who could also live in eternity. This philosophy of persisting beyond one's lifetime through the walkabout process reminds me of certain concepts in Eastern spirituality. In ancient times, seers or rishis or exalted beings learned to manifest divine wisdom by meditating and peering into the spiritual eye. The spiritual eye, they learned, was the entryway into the ultimate states of divine consciousness. Just like Tall Papa's walkabout, these ancient sages taught meditation, which was the scientific technique for divine realization. Through the practical techniques of meditation, man leaves behind forever the barren realms of speculation and cognizes in experience the veritable essence of reality. It is fascinating how Kirkbride was inspired by so many real-world elements when fleshing out each culture's theology in the Elder Scrolls universe. Anyway, I got sidetracked as usual. This happens every time I dig into the Elder Scrolls lore rabbit hole. Anyway, back to the Iliac Bay. That is a beautiful sight, a settlement in an arid environment. I love those dragon trees. It fits perfectly in this arid region of Tamriel. Amazing work by the exterior level design team. The team said these maps look small, but they feel so big when you walk on them. Here we see some new swim spells. Poison swim spell, shrouded swim spell, and so on. The team has added new elemental magic like poison, earth and water apart from fire, shock and ice, which was part of the base game. They said all the enemies use these spells as well, so you can expect some interesting mage combat encounters. Here we get to see the first city of the Yoku people when they landed on Tamriel. That is the original landing spot. And it is called Herne, the first capital of Hammerfell. The developers say it is a massive ruin that became irrelevant over the course of history as the capital of Hammerfell moved to the mainland. Over time, the buildings collapsed to the point of them not really being viable shelter anymore. By the 4th era, it's just kind of a crumbling ruin. Then the developers show an interesting little platform called the Eyrie of Tava. From the lore, we know that Tava, or the bird god, is the Yokudan spirit of the air. Tava is most famous for leading the Yokudans to the island of Hirn after the destruction of their homeland. It is super cool to see Elder Scrolls lore references like this. So, if we have a specific offering and step on the platform, we get a message.
The winds wrap softly around your cheek. Your offering would please the Lady of Air. If you pray here, her winds may carry you to unexpected places.
Will turn you into currently a flock of bats, but thingy actually, like yesterday, just fixed that, so it looks like a flock of parrots.
So you are turned into a flock of birds and teleported elsewhere. How cool! The developers told me that this teleportation system is inspired by the Elder Scrolls Redguard, where you visit a shrine of Kinnereth, step on a platform, offer the goddess a Kana feather, and Kinnereth turns you into a Kana and flies you to the way shrine closest to the direction you are facing. Of course, in Redguard, the actual flight is a cutscene, but in Beyond Skyrim Iliac Bay, it's a fast travel action. According to the lore, Kanas are exotic birds of Somerset Islands, and they look like a parrot. The Iliac Bay developers are working on transforming the bird scene so they resemble a flock of Kanas. So once we are teleported to the new location, we can choose to visit another area to continue the loop, or just move on. This teleportation network was also inspired by the Redguard game. So, what does this loop signify apart from an option for magical travel? Is there more to this? It seems to me that this is an important ritual for the Redguard people who must venture into the wilderness for their own walkabout to survive the harsh judgment of life. Do you guys have any other interpretations? Do share them in the comments below. It is fascinating how the Iliac Bay team is referencing Elder Scrolls lore in so many creative ways. I love it. The devs then enter a Yoku ruin called Zamhai-do. Wow, it looks so different with the serpent symbol everywhere. Just like how we found the iconic hawk motif in Skyrim's Nordic ruins, we have serpents here.
The Yoku ruins look incredible. Just absolutely fantastic. And just like incredible. The vibes are immaculate.
The atmosphere and vibes inside are so good. It feels like you are entering a desert ruin in Indiana Jones. We find this memory stone in the center of the hall that shows events of the ancient past.
That allow you to view a little bit of some memories. So here we'll take a look at the memory here. And yes, this will eventually be replaced with the proper Ra-Netu models. You can see they're carrying some different swords. Those are our ancient Redguard swords. And yeah, you can repeat the memory if you want to and just look at it. But yeah, this is just a neat way to add some extra little scenes.
This is another Elder Scrolls lore reference brought to life by the Iliac Bay team. Wow. So if we read the book The Memory Stone, which is found when playing Daggerfall, we learn about a story of a person named Makela Leki who recorded her memories before her death. And you meet her when playing Elder Scrolls Online. I think this is a wonderful idea to use these stones to depict past events. These memory stones add a lot to these Yoku ruins. After solving a puzzle, we find a statue of a frog and also look at ancient Yokudan coins. I use a Skyrim mod that adds a variety of new ancient coin types with diverse values to make Skyrim's economy more interesting and challenging. We can then trade these ancient coins for septims. It adds so much to the game. I am super happy to see ancient coins in the Iliac Bay as well. Great stuff by the team. As we go further in the dungeon, we find a stone boat structure. The developers say the boats are connected to death, which is a big part of Redguard mythology, and they have chosen to depict that quite literally. They then fight some undead who utter Yoku phrases.
Or rage.
So yeah, that's the gremlin voice actor.
I forget what that one means. Abachorain is a dirty thief, or sort of dirty defiler, someone who is defiling these temples. And that is what they are calling it? Because what else should they assume that you are doing here?
We also get to see some Redguard swords and bows and observe the snakehead design. Finally, we meet the boss Ranetu Vashira along with his minions. The developers said that these Draugr will be replaced by unique enemies later. We also observe some enemies using earth magic. That is very cool. And the devs finally exit the ruin. We then get a spectacular view of the island of Caspar and the Abecean Sea at night and in the evening. Wow, that looks so good. The developers said all of this is vanilla with no ENB used. Alright guys, we have come to the end of this Beyond Skyrim Iliac Bay showcase. We can clearly see the creativity and dedication in the work here. Arcane Impact and Thingy Person are so passionate about the Elder Scrolls lore. Thank you team for your efforts in bringing the Iliac Bay into the 4th era. The community sends a lot of positive energy your way, and hopefully all of us get to explore 4th era Hammerfell soon. Thank you all for watching. May the Divines watch over you.